Welcome to Alpha Centurion. I'll be your guide. So I was prepping my return to the Council of Trent, going through my notes. I know my handwriting is terrible. Just checking on things. But a thought kept on coming to my mind. See, there's a new translation of my favorite Bible. So my favorite Bible translation and my favorite study Bible to use is this guy right here. The second edition I found very helpful. And this one is amazing. There's a new version, the NRSV updated edition. So why don't I have a physical version of the Bible, of this particular Bible? It's out and it's available. But the truth is, I'm probably not going to be buying any more Bible translations going forward, at least not for a while. On top of my head, I can't remember exactly how many different translations I have, but I have a lot. I might still get a Septuagint, and I might still get a Vulgate, and I do still want a French Bible. But, you know, I got it in different languages. I have it in Chinese, I have it in Koine Greek, I have it in Hebrew. I might want to get one in Aramaic. And I have the King James, the Douay-Rheims, the NIV, the KJV, the NKJV, the CSB. I mean, I have a lot of translations, including the Net Bible translation. So why don't I want to get the NRSV? Because when I read the Bible, I want to know what it really says. And one of the things that people are doing now with newer translations is they're no longer going for accuracy in translation. They're going for inclusivity. They're looking for inclusive language, a non-offensive language. That's not what I want. That's not what I want when I read. That's not what I want when I read all of this stuff or any of this stuff. I want to be offended sometimes. I want to think critically about what I'm reading. If someone says something insulting about Hispanic people, I want to read that. I don't want the character to be neutered because it would affect my personal bias. When I read Roots, I don't want the white people to be tamed. I want the white people in the story to be the monsters that they were in history. When I read Frederick Douglass or Malcolm X, I want to hear their real thoughts. When I read Mark Twain, I want Mark Twain, not a neutered version. I think the Roald Dahl books here in America went through the same thing, where they're just neutering the language. That is not the right approach. Be offended. Learn. Grow. Get over that hurdle. In the NRSV, they're changing the language from male and female to a more gender neutral. I don't think that's a good approach. There are terms for male and there are terms for female in the Bible. And yes, there's a generic phrase that can mean either. And sometimes when it says male, it actually means both. I get it. You want the Bible to express modern ideas. But there's a difference between updating your translation to meet modern language and to changing the language to meet modern standards. Those are two very different things. I don't want an Epic of Gilgamesh or a Kama Sutra that's been censored. I don't want a Bhagavad Gita that's been censored for a Christian audience. You know, I once had a copy of the Tibetan Book of the Dead and I didn't keep it. And at the time that I got rid of it, I regretted it. But now I'm glad I got rid of it because it wouldn't have been the real Tibetan Book of the Dead. It would have been a clean, sanitized, Americanized, or at least westernized version of the Tibetan Book of the Dead. That's not what I want. My wife bought me, I don't know if you can see them, but she bought me some Western-friendly versions of classic Chinese novels. I don't like that. I actually spent the time and the money to buy proper translations, which had all the nuance of the original. And yes, it's more expensive. Yes, it was multiple volumes, but I'd rather have the real story. I want Achilles to be arrogant. I want Odysseus to be a sexist pig. I want that because then it makes more sense when Achilles gets punished for his arrogance. When Odysseus's men actually become swine for the way that they're treating the women on the island. It makes more sense if the context is there. So I don't want a censored, neutered, clean, acceptable version of the Bible. I want the adult, gritty version. I want the version that shocks atheists. I want the version that scares communists. I want the version that's real. Yeah, does that mean that it challenges some of my preconceptions of what I think it means to have a loving relationship with God? Yeah, okay. Does it mean that it challenges some of my preconceptions of what the Roman society and Greek society and Babylonian societies were? Yeah, okay, fine. Challenge my preconceptions. When you read the Bible straight through and you get to Jesus, before you even get to the part where you know he's going to die, you're like, oh, they're going to kill him. I just read Maccabees. I know what the standards are. I just read the entire Bible before that. I know what the standards are. Jesus is being highly controversial. When you read the Beatitudes, you're like, oh, yeah, he's going to die. Like, you can't say what he's saying and have the authorities let him live, not the Jewish authorities, because he's going against the entire culture. It's beautiful. It's amazing. And you lose that impact if you neuter it, if you make it acceptable. The Bible doesn't have to be politically correct. So that's why I'm not buying any Bible translations going forward. I don't want a paraphrase. I don't want a Passion Bible. I don't want a sanitized NRSV. I want to be offended. I want to be challenged. I want my preconceptions to be shattered. Because faith and truth go together. And if you separate them, that's not faith, that's myth. That's not faith, that's fantasy. I want reality. So give me the real Bible and let me decide on my own if it's something I can handle. If my faith is strong enough to handle what the inspired authors wrote. So until we get a more accurate translation, I won't be buying any more Bibles for a while. Peace.